Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a short version podcast talking all things Pittsburgh sports. Today is Thursday, November 7th, and we're a couple days closer to the Steelers restarting their season on Sunday against the Washington Commanders. Really excited about that. Thank you to Jeff Hathorn for joining me yesterday. I thought that was a lot of fun and probably something that we will do in the future. Jeff and I have talked a lot about doing kind of a whip around the Pittsburgh sports scene because we see each other so much. But this episode, I want to drill down into some Steelers stuff, some post-trade deadline talk, some things that I don't necessarily understand about how we react to trades, and really where I see Mike Williams fitting into this offense. I'm probably not as down on that as some people. Also have 5 questions to set up the second half of the Steelers season. I want to get to that. But first, I want to remind you that we're brought to you by Edgar Snyder Associates. If you're injured in an accident, you're probably wondering what's next. For over 40 years, Edgar Snyder Associates has helped injury victims answer that question. Whether it's gathering evidence, collecting medical records, or dealing with insurance companies, Edgar Snyder Associates has helped over 75,000 people handle what's next. Call 1-800-94-EDGAR or visit edgarsnyder.com for a free consultation. And remember, there's never a fee unless they get money for you. All right, so my thesis here, maybe that's the right word, for the trade deadline and the reaction to it and sort of feeling jilted with Mike Williams, like the Steelers could have done better. And I understand looking at the rest of the NFL and you see some contemporaries, they've gotten better, right? Ravens get Deontay Johnson, Chiefs get DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins has a really good game. You recognize the need that the Steelers have had for a long time at wide receiver. You know, they're out there sniffing around Brandon Ayuk. Davante Adams is linked to them a bunch. And then it feels like a letdown that they get Mike Williams, right? This is a failure by Omar Khan. What's he doing? I don't agree with that. Sort of take a step back and think about this. Mike Williams was a guy that the Steelers were interested in before any of this stuff happened. Now, he didn't sign there. He ended up signing with the Jets. He never got to the Steelers. Okay. At the beginning of the season, if they would have done that, would you have had that same reaction? Would you have been, oh, Mike Williams? Probably not. Probably would have been okay with it. And I think things would have been a lot different. I understand a little bit why he fell out of favor with the Jets. Aaron Rodgers is notoriously particular with wide receivers. Okay, get that. He has off-season reconstructive ACL surgery, not UCL, different part of the body. He misses some things. There's not a chemistry there. Again, they get Davante Adams. It directly affects him. I'm not sure that makes Mike Williams a bad player. Maybe it makes Mike Williams sort of misused, but there's a different opportunity here. I also didn't love the way Aaron Rodgers went about handling things with Mike. It was almost like we have a total disregard for you as a person because you haven't been here in the same way and you can't help us, or at least we think that you can't help us. And I say all that to say I think it's a different scenario with the Steelers and Russell Wilson. The Steelers have a need for somebody like Mike Williams. They don't have a need for him to come in and catch 76 passes for 1,100 yards and 8 touchdowns, anything like that. Let George Pickens do the heavy lifting. They need Mike Williams to, I love this term, go downfield and catch a moon ball from time to time to give them another downfield threat. Whether it can be Pickens, it can be Williams, both go. Open up the middle of the field for Van Jefferson, Calvin Austin III, Pat Freiermuth, Darnell Washington, whomever. They need another threat. And I'm not rooting for this. I know nobody would be. But if George Pickens happens to miss a game, I like the idea of Mike Williams stepping in. It's a similar skill set. They added to their depth. He's not brought in here to be a number one. Davante Adams, that's a number one. And that's fine. The Jets can have that. Well, maybe he's a number one there. I don't know. Garrett Wilson's pretty darn good, but you know what I mean? He's not brought in to be the guy. Does he have enough left? I think so. It's also minimal responsibility, right? Like his contract is up after the season. The Steelers really aren't on the hook for much. They can try this out, see if it works. If it does, cool. If it doesn't, let's walk away. I'm fine with it. We can dig a little bit more into Preston Smith. I think there's less controversy surrounding him. He's also probably going to have less of a role, but they're basically now 4 deep in the pass rush. If there's an injury, again, God forbid, to Watt or Alex Highsmith or whatever, they've certainly had, some depth questions. DeMarvin Leal out for the season. Nick Herbig's working his way back from an injury. You like depth at that spot. But my point is sort of looking at it, and I wrote this in a column yesterday, looking at what Omar Khan and his staff have done in totality. If you step back for a second, he acquired Chase Claypool for a 2023 second-round pick that became Joey Porter Jr. That's pretty good. They've remade the offensive line, going out and getting Isaac Seumalo, James Daniels, also via draft, Zach Frazier, Troy Fautanu. Some pretty good things there. Right now, they have one of the better running games in the NFL. Good with it. This past offseason, Cam Johnston, before he got hurt, looked like an excellent punter acquisition. I know it's a punter, but still. It just happened to be the first name on my list. Patrick Queen has really been good. It's breaking from tradition, too, spending $41 million in free agency, had a quiet first couple of games, but if you look at the numbers, he's been pretty active. I'm good with his performance there. Dante Jackson, largely okay with that. Him for Deontay Johnson, cool. I think that was a trade that probably worked out for both sides. The Panthers more because they were able to ship him to Baltimore and get capital back, whatever, that's not the point. Russell Wilson's been solid. Justin Fields has been solid. Deshaun Elliott has sneaky been one of the better additions on the defense, maybe the best addition on defense. Man, they're not all going to work out, and that's okay. But I'm willing to hear Omar Khan out on this. Mike Williams, Preston Smith. I don't need to have an immediate reaction, an immediate trade grade. All right, so that does it on that topic. I want to transition a little bit. It's tough, but going to take a 30-second break with our usual message, back with 5 questions for the second half of the Steelers season. But first, a few words from the Bradenton Area Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Embrace the laid-back charm of island life while sinking your toes in the sand and discovering real, authentic Florida in the Bradenton area. Unspoiled beauty and pristine beaches, a vibrant waterfront downtown energized by local arts and culture, fresh Floridian cuisine with a flourish of rich history, and friendly locals ready to welcome you to this preserved paradise on Florida's Gulf Coast. Plan your visit today at BradentonGulfIslands.com.
And welcome back to First 10. We're here middle of the morning, Monday through Friday. Thanks so much for checking us out. Normally bouncing around talking a bunch of things, but kind of zeroing in on the Steelers. I'm anxious to get this thing started again. I don't know if anybody else is in this camp, but I always hate bye weeks. I've hated them since I was a kid. I want the team to come back and play, and it feels like forever. So I'm pretty excited for Sunday at 1 o'clock. But let's look at the second half of the Steelers season. And I kind of wrote this in my 10 Thoughts column. Hope you check that out. Really excited to do more of those. I've been looking for a way to recap more around the NFL, around MLB, around the NHL, and just go a little bit deeper. And I like that format. I have since I was on hockey. And so gonna debut that every Tuesday now. Hopefully you are, I'm going to put that out every Tuesday. We debuted it this Tuesday. Anyway, all right. So my biggest question, I think this is probably obvious, I don't know, is what we've seen from Russell Wilson real. It's been very good so far. 63% completion rate, 542 through the air, 3 touchdowns, no picks. He's taken shots downfield. He's delivered some really good balls. The play action game is back. The running game is doing a lot better because of it, getting George Pickens involved, etc. It's been 2 games, though. Is it going to continue? I think it will, but I think that is a very, very, very big driving force behind what will happen about the Steelers. Okay, flip it around. Wrote about this in 10 Thoughts. The quarterback competition is going to be a lot tougher, a lot better in the second half. The first 9 guys the Steelers face, combined rating 85.3. That's equivalent to Drake May from the Patriots, i.e. that's not great. The next 6, 101.9. And think about who they're going to face. Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, starting Sunday. Not easy at all, and that's going to determine a lot. How much they let these guys get away with, how much they're able to bottle them up, etc. And Mahomes, by the way, this surprised me. His rating just 90.1 compared to 102.5 in his career. All right, a couple more points here. Third one. I'm sorry. That was the second one. The third one is Najee Harris. 3 consecutive 100-yard games. Can this continue? I hope it does. It's fun watching him run like this. Any concerns that Steelers fans might have had, outside of the toss play that seems to generate a lot of frustration on social media, man, it's been really good. It's been really good. Athletic, running violently. In a contract year, what you would sort of expect. Jalen Warren has gotten more involved. So more of the same, and they'll get some reinforcements back, which is point number 4. What happens to some of the new old guys? Zach Frazier is going to be coming back after the bye. Obviously, he's going to play. What happens to Ryan McCollum? It's been pretty good. Does he just go back to the bench, get the Spencer Anderson treatment? I don't know, but I feel a little bit better about the depth up front. Obviously, you're going to play Frazier. He's been really, really good. What happens on the other side of the ball to Cam Sutton? I think he's going to play in some capacity. I don't know what, though. I would not bench Beanie Bishop right away. No way. It's been pretty good. He's been learning. That's what you want to do. Give a young player added opportunities. Maybe can Cam Sutton spell him? I don't know. Does Cam Sutton play safety? I don't know. Does he play corner? I don't know. We'll find out. It's going to be an interesting storyline over the final 9 games. That's why it's on this list. And my last one is safety related as well. It's something I wrote about in 10 Thoughts, and I don't quite understand about why it is the way it is. Minkah Fitzpatrick, zeros again. We talked about this in the offseason. Terrell Austin was sort of saying they feel like they misused Minkah and didn't get him involved in creating splash around the line of scrimmage enough, et cetera. And it's kind of happening again. No interceptions, no fumble involvement, hasn't blitzed. He's only credited with 1 blitz, according to Pro Football Reference. Not that he did that a ton. I think it was 15 last year, but it's been very, very quiet. I'd like to see him kind of get going and back to his old self in the second half. We'll see if it happens. Tough test again Sunday with Washington. And that does it for me today. We'll be back with a Q&A episode tomorrow. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all of this content and so much more from our Post-Gazette team. Thanks for checking out First 10, everybody.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.